Hey guys, welcome back to the channel for more ACC. I know it has been a while and I have been delaying getting this video out, but here it is. Hungaroring is the penultimate round of the career mode. We've got one more episode after this, and I do promise that one's going to show a lot more of everything that we've learned getting to grips with ACC. With this series at the moment, I'm trying to do this episode is try and improve on my racecraft and safety rating. It might not go to plan, but that is what I'm trying to do. And also trying to work on tyre pressures. This is a big thing in ACC, especially with the update that we're currently on the PlayStation, so I want to try and work on that. And as you can tell by all these videos, I'm not the greatest on ACC, so do go ahead and tell me in the comments down below any tips that you might have to help me get better at the game. And while you're there, please do consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel, because it does help out more than you can possibly imagine by just clicking that button. But as you can see, we've gone wide again, and we're going to go and try and get straight into our proper qualifying lap. And as you can see, we are doing pretty well. We're about 9/10 to a second up at this point. We were currently in P3, so we didn't have the best of first laps. But as we go towards the end of the lap, we're actually just gaining time pretty much everywhere. I mean, this sector we did lose a little bit, but I think there's going to be enough time. And as we go into the penultimate corner, we're just hovering over that 1.3 to 1.4 seconds. But at the same time, what I'm trying to do is I want to try not to crash out, because I'm very prone to that. And as you can see, got a little bit wide there. But as we get on the power, we're 1.3 up, and we're going across the line in P1. So that's P1, another pole position. But can we actually make this one stick? So it's by over a second, so it's quite a decent margin. So we know in theory we are probably the quickest on this track with this AI at this level. Now into qualifying 2, we're not having a great session. We're currently P9, P10, and as we go up this little section here, we have a bit of a moment. Now, because I was about 2 seconds up, I thought, hold on, I can still try and get something back. We've only lost potentially about a second here at the moment, so we could maybe still salvage a decent position out of this. Going into the chicane, what's going to happen? We're going to absolutely bottom it, and we're going to go straight into this blue and green wall. But luckily enough, we've actually gone right on between those two colours, so that's actually a pretty good thing, isn't it? Got to see the silver line in there. But yeah, P11 for race 2, so it's going to be a tough one, race 2, but first race we're going to have to try and see what we can do. We've got these are our targets for this one, and we'll see what we can't get some of those because we are starting the first, so we can't really get any positions, but we'll see what we can achieve. I do love this about ACC, starting your engine and almost going into the pit lane. I don't know what I was thinking there, but yeah, we got back on track and we're just going to get ourselves ready to start this race. And as you can see, we've still got the automatic pit limiter on, still not got scripts out. There's too much to think about with ACC, and that's just one thing I didn't want to think about. But we get to the actual start line, and it's going to go green, so we're going to get a nice little start here, and try and pull away, at least to turn 1, because turn 1 here can actually be chaotic. So we're going to get into turn 1, and we're going to try and hit that apex as close as we can, and just try and pull away. Now looking back, we have gained about a second on P2, which is good. And again, this is the bit that I'm having trouble with, this corner here. Do seem to lose the back end, or feel it quite loose, so something to work on. But towards the end of lap 1, we've gained 1.4 seconds, but we're going to have a bit of a moment. So I've lost the car, tried to correct it, and the only thing I could do is go into the escape road. But I've only lost one position to Rivera's here, which isn't too bad, and it still gives us a bit of a fighting chance. Now, towards the end of the lap, on the start-finish straight, we've got a bit of a run. Now, one thing I did find with the McLaren is it lacks a bit of pace, and that probably is because I'm running the bog standard setup, but it's not too bad for Hungaroring, because we are good on the brakes, and going into turn 1's good opportunity, and we've taken it. So we've gone back into P1. We've reclaimed the position that was ours from the start. Now, coming to the end of lap 3 with about 12.5 minutes to go, it looks like the pit window is going to open now, and I hesitate. Was I going to go in? Was I not going to go in? Because I hesitated, I've made a bit another hash of it. and that's given the AI Riberas here a run on me, and there's not much I could do at this point. I've got to let them get side by side and see if I can outbrake them going into turn 1. They've got the inside line, so they've got a theoretically easier position, but we still hold out, and we're still in P1 considering those couple of mistakes. So all in all, not bad. Got to take the positives out of it. With 11 minutes to go, we're coming towards the pit stop phase, and I have another bit of a moment there, and we have a big moment after that. So we're going to spin, and we're going to go for P1 and drop down quite a few positions. So we've got to be careful with the rejoining. Don't want to damage our safety rating because it hasn't changed a lot from the start. And we've dropped to P12, so we've got hit with track limits. There's one thing I don't get. So with the track limits, you've gone wide, you've lost position. So to get a track limits warning, I think that's a bit harsh. I don't think that's me personally trying to go fast. I was trying to go fast, but that's probably why I spun, but you know what I mean. But as everyone's gone into the pits, I've decided I'm going to stay out, and I'm going to try and do another lap. Just because I've got free track. But if you look at the tyres, they're pretty much toasted, especially the rear left. But end of lap 5, we've got about a minute left before the pit window closes, so we can't go again. We're going to have to dive into the pits now. I did struggle going into the pits. I'm not sure why I was struggling with this, because it's just the basics. Go into first gear, and it's going to turn your pit lane into on as soon as you get to the board. But I was trying to do it manually, but then this is where I had to think about it, because I know with pit stops I'm losing a lot of time. Suspension and bodywork, I've got to change that. But the tyres, I just can't seem to get it to have the same sort of pressures as I had at the start, and then I managed to change it, but then I'm also having to think about where my pit box is and stop it on those markers, because if I don't stop on those markers bang on, the car's going to turn itself off and then correct itself, which loses even more time. So not the best of situations, but once we get to the end of the pit stop, we're going to come back out on track and see if that extra lap has helped us gain any positions. We're P12, so it looks like we haven't, but as we're taking the pit board with us, we're going to lose 2 positions, and we're behind Perel and Friends here. So it's not worked out. Pit stop has still lost a couple of positions, but it is less than I have been losing, so we'll take that positive there and see what we can achieve going forward in pit stops. But with 5.5 minutes to go, we're sitting in behind Friends here, and we're going to have to try and make some sort of a move, because if I don't start making a move, we're going to be P14, and P15 is not far behind. They're only about a second and a half behind, so we've got to make the move on Friends and then get right close, right to the rear bumper, and then pull out and see if I can get a bit of position then. But as you can see here, not really gaining, and again that's part to do with McLaren and the setup, which is the bog standard one, but we know we're going to be better on the brakes. So on the brakes, we're going to go in, get the apex, and we're going to sit in behind Perel. Now once we get to the end-ish of lap 7, we're going to also make another big move on the brakes. We're going to try and go down the inside, get that apex, but they're staying side by side with us, so they are staying on the left hand side, and they're going to get the better entrance into the next corner. But we're going to go wide, they're still there, and they decide that they're going to back out. So I'm not going to complain. That takes us to P12, and that does get us back to where we were before that pit stop. So not the worst. End of lap 9, we've got 3 seconds to go, and we're behind Marcelo here, but we're not going to have much of an opportunity, because that straight is not going to be there by the time we get there, because the race has been done. So it looks like we did catch up to the pack, but no opportunity to make a move. So it turns out race 1, a bit more of the same, mistakes on my part, and it's probably to do with the lack of setup. So I've got to try and figure it out, because I can't keep using the base setup and crashing very often. But we get to the end of the race, we get 3,000 points there for pole position, professionalism and top qualifier. So could be worse, but we finished P12 from pole position to P12. Not great. And we're going to see if we can actually do better in race 2. So in race 2 we get the same objectives again. But what we're going to do, we're going to do something different. I'm going to go in and make some setup changes. Now, in terms of setups, I'm going to change the anti-roll bars and make them a bit stiffer. I think they're stiffer. Change the brake ducts a bit, the tyre pressures, and I'm going to put the aero to max. Now, it is going to lose me time on the straights, but because Hungaroring is quite a technical circuit, it's a high downforce circuit, it might just give me a little bit more stability. As we start the race in P11, we're going to go down the inside and see what we can do to turn 1. So remember, turn 1 can get quite chaotic here, so we're just going to have to be careful and try and not get any safety collision points deducted. And we've done okay. Ryan's is ahead of us, but it looks like we've gained a few positions now. It does take a couple of corners for the leaderboard to adjust, but it looks like we've gained a couple of positions at least, and we're up to P7, so we did gain quite a few actually. Not bad. Look at the tyre pressures, they've gone really good, and we're going to make a move down the inside. Ryan's is going to stay there and just be a bit of a nuisance, but they've gone in ahead of us into this corner, so they're not backing out on this one, and we've just got to try and sit in and try and see if we get a better exit than Ryan's here going into the main straight. Now we're going to try and get on the power a little bit earlier, and try and see if we can stay in this slipstream to try and make the move into turn 1. We've gone the first lap, so it's still not fast, but going into turn 1 on the brakes again, and we've made that move. So that's P6. That's already a very good start, and the tyres are holding out. They're getting in the 27s, and that's where you want to be. 27.5 roughly is what I believe is right for ACC. Do tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. This is on update 1.8, the PS5 one, so not the new PC ones. But as we go there, we got the best lap of the race. No, that wasn't the best lap of the race, but our best is 152.5. But we're going to make a move on Van der Linde into turn 1, and we've made it stick. So that's a P5 by the end of lap 4. And look at the tyres. The back ones are pretty much the sweet spot, and the front tyres are getting it. So we've made the adjustments we've made massively helped, and you definitely feel it with the car. It just grips so much better, and it's so much easier to drive when the tyres are in that right operating window. Now I know with the new update, when we do eventually get it, anything in the 27s I believe might be about right. So end of lap 5, we're going to go into the pits from P1, and we were 5th I believe just before everyone started pitting. So we've got a better entry into the pits, slam our brakes on, and first thing again we're going to do is change the bodywork and suspension, so we don't want to repair any of that. But look at the tyres, they haven't adjusted, they're not what we wanted at the start. So I kind of wish there is probably a way as we go through the AI rather than crashing, of having the tyre pressures you have at the start of the race to be the tyre pressure it gives you as default for the pit stop. Again, didn't hit our brake markers there, but yeah, I think that would help. But there's probably a way of doing it, so I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below if there's anything I'm doing wrong. But as we come out, we've gone to P8, so we've lost 3 positions overall here, which is not ideal, but it's only 3 positions, and we're still ahead of where we started. So we've got a big old rival now, which I'm going to think Ribera's is our rival, and we're going to make a very risky lunge here, going into this turn, and that was borderline. I mean, I don't know how I got away with it. And then towards the end of that lap, we're going to make a move on Leonard and go up into P6. So we are in P6, we've made it stick, and we're going to try and hold out here just for this last second, just in case they make a last minute dive. It looks like they're going for it, and they're still there, but we've managed to just get out ahead of them. As you can see here, I'm going for the fastest lap. I'm going for it. I want to get quicker, half a second up. And what was I needing that? I'm about 9 seconds behind P5. I'm never going to catch them. And I made a decision to go for a faster lap, and it's cost me a position. It could have cost me a lot more. So those are mistakes I've got to cut out. But we're lucky, with a minute and a half to go, at the end of the straight, it looks like this is going to be the last lap. The tyre pressures at the back are not where we want them to be at all, and the front right. but we go deep on the brakes and we got the position back. So the tyre pressures, they were great, they're not now, so it's something I need to figure out. But we're going to go across the line in P6, so that's an overall good race finish. So we're getting better. Nürburgring is next, and I promise you that one we're going to take everything we learned through this series and put it into action. From setups to pit stops to tyre pressures, everything. We'll try and nail it on the head. But that's the Hungaroring race. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for stopping by. Please remember to hit the like button, drop a comment and subscribe to the channel. Before you go, check out the other 2 videos in the series, and I will catch you on the next one. Chunky out.